get the party started.
Oh, baby!
When was the last time you shit your pants?
You think I'm a goddamn fool?
I shit my pants last night.
It's a beautiful planet. Well, it's a moon for sure.
I'm sick and tired of all this bullshit. Put that in your package, folks.
What's up, everybody? Josh, the Clearing Waivers Podcast, coming at you for another episode of the Clearing Waivers Podcast. Hope you're doing well. Hope your week was great. Since the last time we spoke, the Royals got a little bit hotter, adding to this little momentum that they got going into Tampa Bay, carrying a 2-1 lead going into the bottom of the ninth here. So we're not going to say anything. I mean,
You just did.
just a scoring update is different than saying anything about how they've played tonight. It's just a very objective and factual opening tonight.
Okay.
So we're not jinxing anything. It's just bottom of the ninth. The Royals are winning 2-1, period. So hopefully they can pull it out. We'll see how that all turns out. But welcome. We appreciate you stopping by tonight. We've got some. We had our very first Royals mailbag. I guess it was just a regular mailbag. Could have been anything, but mostly Royals and nonsense from you guys this week. Makes a lot of sense. If you're listening to us, it's probably all mostly Royals and nonsense coming through your brains. Certainly going through ours at this moment. Chiefs are not really doing anything quiet, or not doing really anything right now, unless you count Julio Jones rumors. But we won't even respond to those. They're not real things, guys. So we've had our first mailbag, has some questions from the listeners that we're going to answer here for the Clear the Waivers. Then we're going to get into the shenanigans for the evening, got some fun stuff kind of lined up for you. But first, like I said, let's get into clearing the waivers in this mailbag.
We're clearing the waiver.
We put out the call to the listeners to come up with some questions that was just burning a hole in their pocket, that they were just sitting on, waiting for the Clearing Waivers Podcast to answer. So that's what we're doing tonight. First question. Let's get right into it here. First off, let's thank everybody for submitting those questions. Really, really appreciate it. Next time we're coming to rolls around, we hope we have even more to run with. But if you did submit a question, we really, really appreciate it. Time to move on here. Let's start with our first question from friend of the podcast at JT Pinfield, Joe Pinfield. Shout out from Royals Farm Report. Excuse me. He gave us the cliche and the staple Kansas City barbecue question. We're gonna start, bench, and cut these 3 barbecue restaurants, probably taking away any sponsorship deals. So shout out to Joel for destroying and burning this bridge. But we're here to be representatives of the people. So we're gonna start, bench, and cut one. Joel's changed up the rules on us here, so we're gonna get into the Joel mindset here. Start, bench, and cut one of Q39, Jack Stack, and Joe's Kansas City. Let's start with Kitty. Kitty, what are you doing here with this start, bench, and cut?
I'm going to go with the starter, and that is Joe's Kansas City for me. Z-Man, the fries, can't go wrong. Every time I've had it,
Sure.
I've been impressed. So seems to be, to me, an easy start, at least for me. So easily had it the most of all these options. So clear starter there. I'm going to bench Jack Stack for me. I like Jack Stack quite a bit, just not on the level for me as Joe's Kansas City. Still quality options with their enjoy the spicy barbecue sauce. Add a little more kick to it for me.
Mhm.
And then I am going to cut 239. A little too hoity-toity for my taste. That place. Go inside that one. And
That is very shocking for the resident Schlansky.
I know the resident
podcast.
Schlansky is not happy with the hoity-toity barbecue.
That's
Barbecue
something else.
Barbecue is a dirty food, and it's not meant
blue
to be
collar.
eaten. It's not meant to be eaten on white linen tablecloth type of environment that kind of I get when I walk into Q39 a few times. So I'm going to cut that one. Sorry, Q39. There goes that sponsorship. I've ruined one bridge.
I have a feeling that the multiple combinations of here is going to go pretty much leave one potential sponsorship.
We'll cut all ties.
Very possible.
Brian, go ahead and kill the other tie here. Go ahead with your round here.
Well, luckily, Kitty and I park our car in the same garage when it comes to starting. So
Yeah.
we're going to start Joe's. Joe's is the 2001 Barry Bonds of barbecue. Every time you go in there, you're expecting them to serve up a home run.
Mhm.
And it's almost like he's so good, they're so good, they have to be cheating, right? They're doing something against the rules. They cannot be this good every time you go in there. So
Yeah.
Joe's starter, it's the clear-cut king of Kansas City, in my opinion. I'm going to bench Jack Stack. Very solid. It's my Whit Merrifield of barbecue in Kansas City. Solid all around. Good at everything. Not great at one thing, but I'll take it every time. If you got somebody coming in town and wants to check out some just good barbecue and you're not going to disappoint them, maybe not blow their socks off, but it's going to be a good experience. Give me the Whit Merrifield of barbecue to go to Jack Stack. Q39, going to cut you. You're the new kid in town, much like Andrew Vaughn. Andrew Vaughn is the Q39 of Kansas City barbecue. New kid on the block, high potential, tries a little too hard, lots of hype.
Jesus.
But when you check it out a few
Unbelievable.
times, it's just okay. I mean, it's fine. It's good. I wouldn't say no if somebody wouldn't go to Q39 have dinner, but it's not going to be at the top of my list. So it's probably a victim of the new kid on the block, but I've got some other barbecue spots. I'm going to go ahead of Q39 right now.
Now all of a sudden I want to provide player comps to go with my picks here.
Yeah,
It's
I
different.
really blew it too.
You did blow it. I'm trying to think of something on the up and up. if
You're
you
not
will.
that good.
That's
Challenge.
That's tough.
Throwing down at your
Tough
feet.
to take from you. Well, I'm also gonna start Joe's Kansas City, obviously. Always the go-to. There's been literally nothing bad. The beans aren't my favorite, but I'm still eating those beans every time. The only thing that has a staple on this list, the Z-Man national favorite. So going for that, fries top notch. I'm starting Joe's KC. I keep doing that. I'm gonna cut Jack Stack because it's fine. It's for barbecue. It's fine. It's very good, but it's very telling, and it says a lot whenever people leave and they only can remember the cheesy corn. I think that's very telling. That when people are like, "Oh, I guess Jack Stack because I love their cheesy corn." Well, you don't go to barbecue for the fucking cheesy corn. That's all I gotta say about that.
The beans are very good.
The beans are fine.
Very good.
They're beans.
Jackson.
I don't eat beans, so those two can kick rocks as far as I'm concerned.
There's
Beans.
the Schlansky.
Beans are for
the
pores,
Schlansky.
Kitty's
They're
mine.
for pores from Kitty's. For sure.
Beans by themselves, that's fine. When you start throwing beans in dishes for filler, then you've crossed the Rubicon to the pores.
Oh no.
Interesting.
No.
Interesting. Well, I'm actually gonna bench the Q39 because he's gonna get a spot start on date night. Because date night, you're still getting barbecue, but you're gonna spend a little bit more. It's gonna get a little bit fancier, like he was talking about. So it counts as date night when it's a little more expensive. So it's getting the spot start on date night. Still get barbecue at that point.
Oh, see, that's terrible in my opinion.
How's that?
You're paying more for an inferior product just because it's got a hoity-toity atmosphere.
Well, it's a change of pace. Change of pace. Change of
Ah.
pace. Change of pace. Get that pork belly. That pork belly appetizer, delicious. There's only like 6 pieces though, so that's like $32.
But it does anger me a little bit when I see all the Twitter recommendations when someone new to Kansas City and Q39 sit at the top of their recommendation. Like, come on,
Yep.
man.
I agree with that for
Have
sure.
you been anywhere else besides there, or are you
Yep.
just saying that because that's where someone told you to go?
That's some hipster that lives on the crossroads that still eats meat for
True.
now.
Yep, it's still fine.
So shout out to Joe. Appreciate the question there. Keep them coming. We'll keep answering them here. The next one's from @beat_KC. Also has a podcast on YouTube. Go check it out as well. Who is your most anticipated Royals minor leaguer that the average fan may not be aware of, and when could they be a part of the big league roster? Very similar question what we asked Royals Farm Report back when we interviewed them a few weeks ago. So if you haven't checked that out, do so on that. I do have a little bit of different answers on that front. I've got a sexy pick and I've got a not sexy pick. So my sexy pick is Eric Pena, very high profile prospect. He's got a lot of flamage underneath his rocket, if you will. Lefty, throws right. He's 6'3", 200 pounds, 18 years old. Probably good everyday right fielder long term, I think is what we're kind of saying. Good power, good but not great speed, decent arm. Has some contact concerns. I think he's under the radar though. because he could be a top 100 prospect at some point, and right now he's just not getting that hype. So I think he still could be considered under the radar, still young, still very volatile, still very risky. So I think he could fly under the radar. But if he comes up, like people were talking like Carlos Beltran comps when they signed him back in the day. And if that's the case, then he needs to absolutely be talked about in the same light as, all these other top, like the Bobby Witts and the Asa Lacey's and Daniel Lynch's and all these guys. They're going to make huge differences back when they finally get up to the point where they're up and running the pro level. I think Eric Pena is going to be a big deal if he catches on. So I think his ceiling is high. He's got a pretty low floor. That's why the under the radar type of thing kind of comes to mind when I hear that. His his 2020 spring training, he was non-roster invite this year. 7 plate appearances and a 4.1 opposition score on BREF, which is basically just above low A ball. He had 7 plate appearances, no hits, and 5 strikeouts. So there are definitely some swing and miss concerns there. But if he puts it all together, I think, it might be a little aggressive to think he's up and running by 2024, but I could see a timeline where he could be running around the outfield in late 2024. But I think 2025 is a little bit more conservative, a little bit more realistic. So Eric Pena is my sexy pick. My not sexy pick is going to be here a lot sooner, depending on some recent issues. John Bolin, old Johnny Bolin, 24 years old, down in Double-A, mid-90s fastball to get up to 97, apparently, depending on what stadium gun you see. Solid slider, very good command, very good control. Kind of getting comps around as like a Jake Junis type, I think, at this point. He does have a no-hitter in high A back in 2019. He is very, very solid this year in Double-A. Right now, he's the number 8 prospect in the Royals organization, according to Pipeline, number 11 of Fangraphs, and Royals Farm Report had him at number 9. But right now, he's pitching really, really well down in Double-A. He has a 13.24 K per 9, which I do not think is real. He's usually hovering around 8 or 9, but he's very solid, pitches the contact, and I think he's very, very good. As far as a role kind of plays, his last start was Sunday. He left after 2 batters with an injury. I don't think I've seen a diagnosis to that yet, but he called for the trainer himself. He like I said, he saw 2 batters, struck both of them out for what that's worth. But I haven't seen a diagnosis on that. So his ETA very much kind of hinges on what that diagnosis is going to be. I think long-term, like I said, kind of a Jake Junis, what he is now, maybe a swingman guy, a spot start guy. But I think if he's able to hit 97 with that slider out of the bullpen, I think he'd be pretty valuable there. So hopefully we could potentially see him at the end of this year. But I think he's definitely in the mix potentially next year. So we'll see how that injury kind of holds up. But yeah, that's Johnny Bolin is my my not so sexy pick, and he's kind of under the radar because he came into that 2018 class with all those pitchers that we talked about, the core 4, the Singer, the Bubich, the Kowar, and the Lynch, and he was number 5 in that group. So people kind of overlook him, but he is absolutely dealing in Double-A right now. So hopefully the injury is not of concern and he's able to bounce back and jump back on the field, and we can kind of get back on that timeline for this year. We'll have to see how that goes. Next question is from @BDaddyExquisite, and it was a very interesting question because it wasn't a question at all. He said, "I just ran over a snake on the lawnmower, and that was satisfying." I get it. That's a low key kind of a little dream of mine, a little fantasy of mine. I don't like snakes. I've heard it's very satisfying to see the snake spray. I think there's something very satisfying in that.
This a riding lawnmower or a push?
He didn't say. He didn't say. But if it was a push mower, I feel like that adds a little bit of bravery to what he did.
Yeah, if he saw the snake first and then he went all Rambo, first blood on it, and started putting blood under his eyes and everything and getting ready to go.
The only good snake is a dead snake. So bravo to be Daddy Exquisite.
Yep. He did a good thing.
It did remind me. I've been watching those A&E biographies on the wrestlers. They're doing like 8. They've all been awesome. I watched The Ultimate Warrior last night, and they're doing one on Jake the Snake Roberts. And
so
there's like an interview part of it where he says that it's weird because he's terrified of snakes. And I'm just like, how on earth could you be years as Jake the Snake Roberts, carry bags of snakes? And if you're terrified of snakes like I'm terrified of snakes,
I mean, he put him
pay
on
me enough money.
He was holding the snake the entire time after matches. I mean, if you're terrified of snakes, that's an impressive move in your head to get over that fear and being that character that's apparently not afraid of snakes and get it done.
Unbelievable.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
Apparently so.
I told you that's kind of like a low-key fantasy of mine is to do that, but it has nightmare potential too, because if that snake gets under the blade and you don't get hashtag snake spray, then it's a way smarter snake. You don't know what you're dealing with. It's probably already stolen your identity and racked up a bunch of credit card debt.
Very easily could have. Easily.
It's smarter than your average snake at that point.
I mean, it's a snake, so it's going to do something shady.
Absolutely. There's no such thing as a good snake. Not even dead ones. Next question here from @Shetman15. Back to the Royals. What extension would you sign Bobby Witt Jr. to today? Brian, what do you think?
It's kind of a crazy concept to think about signing a guy to an extension when he hasn't taken a one major league at bat, but it's not unheard of, especially lately with the White Sox. They've done this a couple of times. They did in 2019 with Eloy Jimenez. With his note service time, they gave him a 6-year, $43 million extension with 2 options. They did the same thing the next year with Luis Roberts. 0 service time, 6 years, $50 million, 2 option years. So I mean, it's not crazy to say that that's even a possibility. And at the same time, we're Kansas City fans, and Patrick Mahomes signed a deal that none of us ever dreamed of him signing. So it's possible that this happens. You look at a guy like Ronald Acuna Jr. that signed a deal, and at the time, everybody's kind of scratching their heads because this guy was already proven in the major league level that he was a star. And he kind of signed a deal that everyone's kind of scratching their heads because he signed a little – you see 8 years, $100 million, and you say, yeah, that's a pretty good deal for both sides, right? But it ends up being 2 no-brainer club options that they're going to pick up at the end of that. So it turns into a 10-year, $134 million deal for one of the top 3 to 5 players in baseball. I mean, the Braves got an absolute steal with that extension. So if you can sign him to something like that, if you think he's going to be an absolute star, that's great. The Royals really haven't shown a penchant to do something like that unless you're willing to take a deal like Salvador Perez was his first year in Kansas City, and that was way back in 2012, and he had 50 games of service time, which for the Royals was not very many to sign a long-term extension, but they got him to sign 5 years at $7 million.
Yep.
That's crazy. That's much different than these deals we're talking about here.
Right. It's a small difference.
And so when I look at Bobby Witt right now, he's the MLB pipeline. He's the number 7 overall prospect. So if you want to compare him to like those 2 White Sox guys, Eloy and Luis Roberts were both number 3 in MLB pipeline at the time that they signed their deals. So they're kind of in the same ballpark, but maybe you could say they're considered a little higher. You saw Robert get a little more money probably because he signed it a year later, inflation, all that good stuff. So I think, being that it's 2021 now, it's probably another year of inflation, but Bobby Witt was number 7 guy in the system, and Robert was number 3 overall in baseball. Maybe you can say we get somewhere close to that kind of deal, which is 6 years, $50 million with two options. The thing with that deal is at the end of that 6 years, they've got 2 option deals, but they're worth $20 million each, which if these guys are really good, that's a no-brainer to pick it up 8 years from now. But if they're not very good and they don't hit, that's a huge liability to a small market franchise to be paying a guy that's not producing. So it's very risky for both sides, kind of. If you want to take a little less to be here long term, that's great. But as much as we want to believe in him, we have not seen it with our own eyeballs against Major League pitching. So it would be unnerving to give him $100 million to be here for the next 6 to 8 years.
No balls.
I have a feeling that we're not going to see a long-term extension with him anytime soon, and we're going to play this out year to year, kind of what Dayton does. He doesn't seem to have any problem with closing deals before going to arbitration and getting into those fights. Dayton's confident in getting deals done and making a guy feel like he's getting a fair deal year to year. And I would like to have that known, expense at the end of the 6 years, 8 years. You'd like to know what you're invested in and where you can spend your money elsewhere. But I don't think it's going to happen. But if we could get him to sign anywhere near that Luis Robert deal, I think that would be good for us. But that being said, I mean, we want to think the best of him, but we still need to see it. So it would be an extremely risky deal to give him an 8-ish year type deal.
Right. And you see with both those guys, I mean, they're both basically lost for the season now too for the White Sox.
Yeah.
So with a small market team, you've run that. That's another risk you got to take into account when you don't have the money, or usually you're not signing a bunch of free agents every year, so you don't have the depth usually if a guy like that goes down. So you don't want to lock up money that could be spent elsewhere on a guy that may not develop or ends up getting hurt.
And that's what's kind of the wild difference about baseball compared to other sports is when these guys start their service time, you get them for 6 years. You figure out the money year to year after that, but they're under club control for at least 6 years. So it's different than other sports where you get a rookie in NFL for maybe 3 years, unless he's a first rounder, then you're talking 4 or 5 years. But when he comes up, the service clock starts, you get 6 years. So you're going to get him whether you sign him to a big deal or not. If you go year to year, less risky that way, I feel like you said, a year where you're getting zero production type of thing is a whole bunch of lost money for that year. So I kind of rather go that route than give him a huge extension right now. But if he came up and did what Acuna did for his first 165 games, then you say, here's the keys to the castle. What do you want, Dad?
That's give him the Mahomes deal at that point.
That's right.
Don't care. YOLO.
I'd like to see it at the big leagues for a little bit before we talk about 6 to 8 years down the road.
Or not the Tatis deal either.
Right.
The big one.
I got that written down here too.
The stupid thing about
14 years, $340 million.
That's a bit different. The Acuna deal, they could pick up both of those options, and he's still only 31 as a free agent at that point. So he goes and gets like that Bryce Harper deal at that point, which is wild. The Robert and the Jimenez, they were both given those extension after both had really strong showings at AAA. So at this point, you're probably looking at something south of that. The Seattle Mariners paid their first baseman Evan White back in 2019, gave him an extension, 6 years, $24 million with 3 club options at 10, 11, and 12 and a half. And that was all signed after a good showing in AA. And right now, after 306 of his first plate appearances in the big leagues, his OPS is 544. Not great.
And there's a difference in those numbers too, because I looked at that too, and he was the number 58 guy in MLB Pipeline Top 100. So you're not talking about a top 5 type prospect there. So that was a give and take by them. I'm not sure why they felt like they needed to do that kind of a deal, or he felt like he needed to do that kind of deal. But I mean, if both sides are comfortable with it, it's at the end of the day, it's only 6 years, $24 million. So it's not.
Seattle could probably handle a little bit better of a hit than they say the Royals could. At that point. So somewhere between you're ready to give him the Luis Robert deal.
I'd be nervous with him having zero service time, but
it would be one hell of a absolute load on his shoulders right out of the gate.
Yes, it would, and
more than already is.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and I don't know. It'd be terrifying, but I'm not writing the check, so
sure.
It's definitely that deal just doesn't have the same impact as some of those other ones. I mean, it's a lot of money still, but it does seem manageable for a major league club to.
I agree. Yeah,
give that money out to a guy that young.
Right, because if they do pick up the 2 club options on Robert, let's say that ends up being 8 years, $90 million.
Yeah, that's not a ridiculous amount.
Right, well, if he turns into a star.
Because if you're doing like money per WAR, and he's a center fielder that's supposed to be able to hit, run, play good defense. I mean, that's going to be plenty of value for the White Sox at that point. And if Eloy Jimenez's bat is what they think it is and what it could be, then I mean his deal is an absolute steal at that point.
Yep. And I think that's also
White Sox.
that's also kind of the risk too when we talk about the Acuna deal versus like a Tatis. Like the the more he actually proves at the big league level, if he comes up and just dominates from the beginning, like both Acuna and Tatis did, you're looking at more of the Tatis if you want to lock him up long term. And if that's the case, he's already out of our price range, and we can't even deal for a long term right now. We're going year to year until it gets to year 6, and then we're saying who's the highest bidder for Bobby Witt Jr.
Exactly.
Well, it's good to know that 20 years later, nothing's changed. Good to know.
Let's have 6 great years.
Let's move on here. Final question here in the mailbag for our very first Clearing Waivers mailbag. It's from Adhard Bonk Life. Great name. We just had to look up prior to the show what bonk in Urban Dictionary means. Very funny. Very good name, sir or ma'am. Brought the question, what's the biggest hole for the Royals and how would you fill it with one trade or promotion? Kitty, this one's yours. Kind of what we did back with Let's Make a Deal last week. Thought we had some pretty good options, so hopefully you got something different for content's sake.
Right.
You don't. Okay, cool.
We talked about it last week. There's holes on all 3 facets of the team right now.
Mm-hmm.
Bullpen, starting pitching,
wants the big one.
The lineup have issues. I mean, they've gone to the 4-man rotation last couple times on the schedule just because it's obviously they have a feeling there's a little bit of a hole at 5th starter, but we've got options there. Bullpen's got some depth issues with some of the guys that have been thrown out there. Lineup, though, I think is where we're really seeing the biggest issues, where we're getting 0 out of the DH except when Salvi DHs.
Yeah,
that is the only time a DH hits in the lineup is when Salvi's out, when Cam Gallagher's catching and Salvi plays DH. So we've got the need to find hitting, and I want a whole lot of great options. Hey, let's bring up Bobby Witt now. Then let's do it.
There it is.
Let's bring him up now. There's no need to delay any longer. We're getting 0 production out of the DH. Bobby Witt, come on up. You're gonna play center field. Witt'll move to right. So there's automatic DH.
Okay.
So there's a DH, and he can take an off day when Salvi wants a DH. So Bobby Witt Jr. is coming up.
Interesting.
Right now.
Going for it. Rip the Band-Aid off, start the clock.
I've seen enough O'Hearn swing and miss.
Yep.
Enough. Don't need to see that anymore.
So the actual casualty in this move is Michael A. Taylor.
Yes.
Not Soler.
I guess Witt can move to second base. Sorry, I meant second base for Witt. So then Nicky Lopez is the casualty. He can with Mondesi coming up now.
You're leaving Dozier at third. Witt goes to right field. Witt
would go to right. And Nicky is at second. Mondesi short.
And then okay.
So Gutierrez will be on the bench.
Dozier, Kelvin Gutierrez at third base.
Yeah.
Interesting. There's your transaction.
Get him up.
There it is. Let's do it.
He's hot.
Let's go ahead and do this. In the same phone call, let's go ahead and sign that extension, baby.
We've waited 40 games. What are the Royals? They're just toying with us.
What are we waiting for? It surely can't be his 180 batting average down in Northwest Arkansas.
That was early. Small sample size.
He's
up
just
to 220 now.
He's not being challenged down there. He's not focused. He knows he belongs to the Major League Club. And that's where he needs to be to hit.
I'm curious about this.
I feel like I'm trying to think of a good analogy in my own life, but I've never been that good at anything to
right.
Be pushed down somewhere where I don't belong.
You've never been the number 6 best something?
No, I shocked. Really, I'm a little bit shocked by it.
His average is up 235. His OPS is now sitting at 698 after a slow start, like Brian said. So,
I mean, it'd be like if they made Phil Mickelson only play on the Seniors Tour because he turned 50. Sorry, not allowed to play on the PGA because you're 50. Well, just won a major at 50, so obviously he can still compete. Bobby Witt says, I don't care about AA. I'm here for the majors. Get them up.
That's what Phil would. The same argument. I'm just here for the majors.
That's right.
Did I golf correctly? Did I just golf?
That is. You did golf.
Great golfing.
Yes.
Golf knowledge there on that one. Dropping the
Love
science.
It. Man, I am crushing the golf tonight.
Exit on this momentum, Josh.
True.
Roll right out.
Eject out of the clearing the waivers. We did it. First mailbag under our belts. Very good. We got our feet. They're very wet right now. So we hope that you guys enjoyed it. We'll have another one if you guys are willing to give some more questions like that. A lot of fun. You guys definitely get our style as far as what we're going for here. But time to get into some shenanigans. We brought back. I really enjoyed Waiver Sharks last week, so I brought it back. We're doing it again, and then we got a fun Waiver Wire. After that, a drafting things again. So let's get into the Waiver Sharks. What the object of here? I've got 11 TV shows or movies that have some kind of common thread in them. And I've got the Rotten Tomato critic scores of each one of them, and we're going to start at a random spot. And these guys are going to say if the next movie or show is higher or lower than the one previous to it. Go till somebody gets it wrong, and then they have to guess the common theme for an extra bonus point. So let's get into it here. I'm going to say Brian won the mailbag this week. So you're gonna guess door number 1 or 2.
2.
Door number 2. Okay, and then start your starting point 1 through 11, sir.
3.
3. Your first movie or TV show is Space Jam from 1996. Got a 43% of Rotten Tomatoes score. I can't tell you if that's right or wrong about Space Jam, but I think either one you could probably make a case for. So is the next movie or show The Simpsons higher or lower than a 43%?
Like the series?
The series Simpsons.
The entire series.
The entire series.
It's got to be way higher than 43.
It is higher. It is an 85%. Well done.
Sorry about that.
Next one, higher or lower than 85% is Batman Returns.
Oh, God. Which one was that?
Does it matter?
I think it
Well,
does.
not to me, probably, because I won't. You could probably tell me exactly who was in it and what was going on, and I'd be like, nah, I don't remember that.
Right.
Batman
This is the
Returns.
DeVito one.
I can neither confirm nor deny who is in this or what. I can say it was 1992.
Okay, 1992. So that was been a while ago.
It's also not the common theme. The year is not the common theme.
92. Batman Returns. I'm gonna go lower than 85.
It is lower than 85. It was an 80%.
Ooh,
Well
nice.
done. Next movie is Junior from 1994. Higher or lower than 80%?
You mean that movie with Danny DeVito?
I can neither confirm nor deny who was in Junior.
I don't think I actually watched this movie, but I feel like it was like a cheeseball buddy comedy, and those rarely get high scores with critics. Even back then, I'm gonna go lower than 80.
It was lower, a bit lower, 36. So just a shade under
Perfect.
Batman Returns.
We're gonna go with Always Sunny in Philadelphia next.
No. From where Brian started, that's the last one.
He's scrambling.
The next movie is Jumanji, The Next Level. Higher or lower than a 36?
Gotta be higher than 36.
It is higher at 71%.
Okay.
Well done.
Making
On
a
roll
good
here.
run so far. I like
Yeah,
it.
much better than last week. You've already doubled the combined score from last
Yep.
week. So that's great.
Much
really
better
good.
than every week we both do this.
True.
That's right. Next movie or show is Mars Attacks.
Oh, I
Higher or
think
lower than a 71.
is that the movie with Tom Jones in it?
Tom Jones is in that. Yep. I can safely say that Tom Jones is in.
I feel like there's a small group of people that love this, but for the most part,
Kitty is one of them.
That is one of the best movies ever made.
Yeah.
we're up above 71 here, right?
Higher 71. Yep.
I'm gonna say for critics, the majority of them even lower than 71.
It was a 54.
Okay.
Wrong.
So, yeah, makes
Critics,
sense.
those critics stink. They stink, I tell you. I know what they're talking about.
Next
It's a
movie or
phenomenal
TV
movie.
show is Reno 911 Miami.
Oh,
The movie. Is it higher or lower than 54?
I wanted this movie to be so much better than it was. I love the series. The movie was just kind of a letdown. They
How
didn't really
much?
play the hits. Play up to the hits. Come on, guys. 54 though. That's pretty.
Mhm.
Critics. Reno 911 Miami is not made for the critics. Basically, there's no plot to it. Even the humor they hate. I'm going to go lower than 54.
It was a 34, so
Yep.
it was
Oof.
indeed lower. Very good. Next one is Romancing the Stone from 1984.
I have no clue. I've heard this movie, but no clue what it's about or who's in it. But I'm going to say it has to be higher than 34.
I think we know one person in it.
Nope, I don't
Yeah.
think you know anybody. There's nobody in that.
Clearly, Dan Aykroyd's in it.
Dan Aykroyd, Bill Murray.
You know, Michael Douglas, obviously. Come on, that's the name you know.
You said higher?
Higher than 34.
It was a bit higher. It was an 85%. Apparently classic.
Guess I need to
From
check
the
that out.
Yep.
I had to watch it for a film appreciation class back in college.
Jewel of the Nile was another
That
one
was
right around that same.
might be in this common thread too, but I didn't put it on this list. Next movie, higher or lower than 85, is Dumbo
Ooh.
from 2019, the remake.
I'm going to say it's fresh, but not quite that fresh. So I'll go lower.
It was lower, not fresh though, 46%. So I'm
Ooh.
still gonna let you have that one, but it was not fresh. Next
Uh-oh.
movie,
Good
higher or
Lord.
lower than 46, is Look Who's Talking Now from 1993.
Look Who's Talking Now. Was that like a trilogy? Because there's Look Who's Talking,
was
Look
at
Who's Talking
least-
2,
Uh-huh.
Look Who's Talking Now is
Yep.
the trilogy.
There's at least 3 of them. Yeah.
Wow,
I
incredible.
guess I should say I'll do 3 like this, just to be safe.
What was the last number I'm guessing against? 40?
46.
46.
Ooh,
God,
that's a tough one.
I'm going to guess this third one had to be awful. I mean, these things just get worse. They don't get better with the critics or anybody. This has potential to be like a 32%. So I'm somehow going to go lower than 40 something.
It was a bit lower. It is a 0 on Rotten
Holy
Tomatoes.
moly.
0. And Brian, to close it out, is Always Sunny in Philadelphia higher or lower than a 0?
Well, 100 is higher than 0, so it's got to be higher.
It is indeed higher. 94%
Ooh.
from that.
Wow.
So Brian, clean sweep, going for the bonus
Good
point.
Lord.
What's your guess on the common thread here?
Let me go Danny DeVito.
Danny DeVito is correct for your
Good
bonus
Lord.
point.
Can't believe
Kitty spoiled that like the second movie.
Yep.
I can't believe I spoiled that on Batman Returns 3 in.
Oh,
God.
shit. Of all the
I don't know what-
movies.
I was just trying to figure out which Batman it was. Oh
And
my
it was
God.
like not that. I mean, it was Space Jam, The Simpsons, and Batman
No,
Returns.
Yeah, there's no.
It could have been a lot of things. It could have been a
Definitely.
lot of things, like all-star casts.
Well, that was a great category, Josh. Good job.
Thanks, Brian.
Yeah.
Great job on your 100% sweepage. Well
Mhm.
done.
Good work. All
That
right,
was good.
going for
I'm
the
locked
tie.
in.
Door number 1. Where's your starting point? 1 through 11.
6.
Number 6. Your movie is Dodgeball from 2004. Got a 71% score.
71. All right.
Mm-hmm. Your next movie or TV show is The Outsider from 2020.
I don't know what that is.
The series.
Series on HBO.
Yep.
Well, HBO. It's not TV, so I'm going to go higher. The landscape critics love some HBO.
The logic is flawless. 91%. It was also
All
very
right. Yes.
He didn't need to see it. We told him
Didn't
all he
need to
needed
see
to know.
good. Next movie or show, higher or lower 91, is Scrubs.
Hmm.
I'm going to go. I love the show. Some other podcasts I listen to. Don't want to.
Yeah,
Put
don't
your names
shout it.
out
No
there.
free ads here.
No free ads.
Except we
There's
just did
some-
a lot of barbecue places, but no big
Right. Some real Scrubs haters on there, so I'm going to say it's lower than the 91.
deal. 83.
Ooh.
Scrubs is still very good. Good stuff.
Yep.
Next show is The Simpsons.
God, I already forgot what number it was.
He knew this. He knows us so well. I have
don't
no
pay
clue
attention
what that
at all.
score was.
Higher or lower than an 83%?
Higher. I think it was 84.
It was 85. You got it.
Okay.
Well done.
Oh
Very well
God,
done.
that was nerve wracking.
Yeah, a little nail biter there.
What
I
a
thought I was gonna
jerk.
get you in a trap door.
That was awesome. That's funny stuff.
Really trapped us.
You can do this so bad. You said it not 5 minutes ago.
The next show that you have, next show or TV or movie is Ozark, 2017 debut. Higher or lower than an 85?
I feel like this was beloved by everybody. So I'm gonna go higher.
It was lower.
Really?
Yep, 81.
What happened? Season 1 was like close to 100, I gotta think.
Yep, I think season 3. This last season wasn't
Tanked
very,
it.
very
Jeez.
high. But I can't. It also won. Didn't it win Emmy? He won an Emmy for director, I think.
I mean, I think I won
And
lots
actor.
of things through the
Yeah.
years. That's
Wow.
disappointing.
Yep. So you got Dodgeball, The Outsider, Scrubs, The Simpsons, and Ozark. What's the common thread here? Not like it matters, but just for the listeners here.
Right. I'm trying to think here. I'm trying to go through what I remember from these shows and who was in them.
Danny DeVito.
I don't think he was in Ozark.
Not
Never
yet.
seen Ozark or The Outsider, so I don't know. That's hurting my ability to figure out who this is or what the theme is.
Yeah. Yeah, that would probably hurt it because I feel
Oh.
like Brian definitely knows this.
I think I might.
Oh man.
Doesn't matter this much. We don't
Jason
need to take
Bateman?
This much time.
Oh, Neil Flynn.
If I told you
Chandler
about
from Scrubs.
Necessary Roughness or Teen Wolf 2.
Yeah. It is Jason Bateman at that point. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say I didn't know Jason Bateman was in either one of those.
No?
Teen
Was he
Wolf 2.
the-
He's
He's
the lead.
the lead. Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Oh,
the
wow.
new Teen Wolf. It
I
is,
did not watch
it
that.
is a average movie. It's enjoyable, but
It's
So-
average because it's 7% on Rotten Tomatoes.
that's also wrong.
That's average for Kitty.
So-
7.
He's the best. He's a college boxer, which is to me a great move away from. Now I'll have wolf strength to beat people up in a boxing ring. That seems a little unfair.
Well, just
Just
don't
to-
even have boxing teams, do they?
Right.
We're just making completely everything up.
There's got to be. I mean, come on. You think Teen Wolf 2 didn't do some research?
They need to do a remake and do one of those doggy obstacle courses with the Teen Wolf. I don't know, like sitting through stakes and going upstairs. You dominate that thing.
I'd be impressed with the watch.
That would be good stuff. So Brian taking home the Waiver Sharks game. Well done. That might be the
Alright.
first time ever.
That's
I
right.
think-
I usually don't get above 4.
If that. If that. Sometimes it's just one or
Hey,
none,
shut up.
like last week.
Shut up. I got 11.
I'm trying to poo-poo on your performance here.
We'll move along.
We'll move
Yeah, I
along.
mean, that's one of my better performances too. So I'm pretty happy with that. You know? Didn't win, but I got 4 points. That's good.
And Brian also stole the common thread from Kitties. Look at him on
He did.
fire tonight. Let's move on to the waiver wire here. We've got a fun one here. But now that like coronavirus is kind of a little bit subsided, got it kind of under control, people are starting to have weddings again. And true love is in the air, guys. The weather's getting better. It's raining all the time, but people are be able to plan their weddings, and people are starting to get together again. So we thought it'd be apt to talk about the best things about the weddings, and then we're just going to draft the best things about weddings. Except that's not really our style. We are way more not on board with that. So we're actually going to draft the worst things about weddings. We even if you're in the wedding, we all dread every wedding we've ever gone to. We dread. Period.
No comment.
I think that's safe to say. I know. We all know where you're at on this, Brian. So we're gonna draft the worst things about weddings. Brian is gonna go first, followed by me, and then to Kitty. Brian, go ahead and lead us off with the 101.
This feels mean-spirited because these
is.
poor people that are getting married this year have put their plans off for like a year and a half, seemed like. So this is a little below the belt, but like you said, that's how we roll. So I'm going to tell you everything that's wrong about your wedding now. And number one is fall Saturday weddings. The absolute worst. You should be arrested if you schedule a fall Saturday wedding during college football season because you are ruining an entire day for people. I don't care. It's your special day. Have your special day anytime outside of this 10-week window I need to watch college football. And you say, hey, we planned it during your teams on the bye week, or they're playing a directional school, so they'll probably win by 50. That's great. I'm still missing every other football game during the day because your wedding takes up the entire day. So you should be arrested. That's the bottom line. No more fall Saturday weddings.
Brian, my wedding was on a fall Saturday.
I'm well aware of that, Josh.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'm gonna go next. Apparently, I need to be in jail. How dare I?
Yep. Lock him up.
Unbelievable. I'm gonna go with what I think is the best value here. The worst part about is travel. The last time I checked, there's not that many weddings held in my backyard, which is a problem because I don't want to go anywhere past that. It's really putting me out to go anywhere past my backyard to come for your special day. And if you have a destination weddings, just don't expect me there because it's not going to happen. And you shouldn't expect me there, period.
Hey, just quick question. Where was your wedding, Josh?
The great destination wedding of Warrensburg, Missouri, sir.
Okay, a little farther.
Where we all live.
Then.
It gave you a great reason to visit a great town in fall on a Saturday.
I did have a good time in that. I did have a good time in that town on that fall Saturday. I will go with that, but it was a little further than your backyard.
So far, Josh is 2 for 2.
Yep. Very excited for this. Very excited for the rest of these because I'm very much a hypocrite in this. Kitty, number 3.
Yeah, mine is, since wedding season basically runs from June to September, I am anti getting dressed up with the old tie and sport coat when it's 95 plus degrees outside. I mean, I can't wait to sweat through a dress shirt today. It's a fun day it's a fun June Saturday. Just great times. So and especially over this last year and a half, I've gotten so used to sweatpants and athletic shorts that getting dressed up sounds like a horrible idea at this, going into a full suit mode.
Yeah.
It does not sound appealing at all.
Nope.
If you're not sweating through a sport coat in an indoor wedding, then you've done something wrong.
Yeah, that's the other option. Yeah, the heat in some of the buildings that just no AC working.
Yep.
That's
or just not enough to cater
Not
to
ready
300
for
people.
Exactly.
What's the turn, Katie? Start us off second round.
I'm going to go with something I've been a party to: bad speeches.
Oh, yeah.
And at least my speech was really short. It was bad, but it was short, so I didn't make people sit through a terrible speech for a long time. So I think
Do you remember it?
that was
like
it. I don't even remember it.
you're married. Congratulations. Cheers, everyone.
That's the gist of it. I had to start drinking early to make sure I could be ready for it after. Just forcing a bunch of people that might not be very comfortable in a public speaking setting to do some public speaking where every single pair of eyes is focused on you. There is no distractions in this moment at all because there's nothing else happening except you giving a speech. And when they're bad, they take forever. So, that's
very uncomfortable for everyone.
Yeah, because especially when jokes don't land in a speech, that someone's I got this great joke. Oh, I can't wait to let it out there, and then you pause for that beat for the laughter, and it's crickets. And then you just we've somebody grab the old at the Apollo hook and bring her off stage or him off stage.
Yep.
That's when you just hit them with a Fast and Furious quote and get out of there.
Yeah, get me off stage. Give me that. Grab the Apollo hook and get me off the stage.
Uh-huh. I like it. I like that a lot. I'm gonna go next, and it's just the peer pressure to do things that you just don't want to do, just in general. Be here at this time on a Saturday. Sit here, stand there. You got to dress up. There's a garter toss. There's Catholic masses all over the place. You got to interact with the father of the bride you've never met and you'll never see again. It's just the pressure to do things and be places at the exact time that somebody else wants you to. I just don't need that in my life. Just don't need that in my life.
Like that.
Yeah,
Very
there's
generic.
a lot of.
Well, I got a lot of generals here that I'm gonna rant and probably steal a bunch. So that's the strategy of the draft here, is to get multiple picks in the mind.
Yeah,
Right.
that was. You kind of did try to do a
what I
little
do.
bit there. So I noticed. That's
Mhm.
kind of like drafting football movies or
Mhm.
Avengers on a basketball team type of situation going on here.
It's an unhittable pitch. Very good strategy on my end, if I do say so myself. Brian,
It's that
Well,
Rich Hill fastball.
that's right.
Well, unlike Josh, I'm going to get into the specifics here.
Mhm.
And this is something that probably doesn't get enough planning by people in the reception portion. And that is the poor dinner delivery system. I
Oh.
hate being at receptions and dinner lasts an hour and a half because you're dismissing them table by table to go up to this one little bitty buffet. And so by the time the last 4 tables get served, dinner 1 and 4 have been done with their meal for like an hour, and dinner is taking up the entire reception time. I'm getting drunk because I need food in my belly. I mean, I'm getting a hot mess. I need you to speed up the dinner delivery, figure out a better system, have them bring it to the tables or something. Think about your dinner delivery system when you're planning your reception, please, so it doesn't last all night. Because at the end of the day, everyone wants to get down and have a good time. Don't spend any hours at dinner.
Yeah, the
That's fair.
because even just the one buffet line, even with both sides, that's still it's a slog to get through. So you almost need a double, you need a four line system to get this moving, get through that dinner
That's
line
right.
quickly.
That's right.
Well, it should be able to some kind of proportionate thing to be like, how many people you got? 100 people? Okay, you just need one side. You have 300 people, you need 2 sides. You have 500 people, you need to go find another venue.
Yep.
Exactly.
Or you need to up the staff so they can bring
Yes.
the place to the tables.
Yep.
All right.
Okay.
Pick number 3. This is a big one for me. I hate wedding receptions with bad DJs that play corny ass music all night. They go from YMCA to chicken dance to Macarena to shout. And you're just like, give me something that's not awful. Anything. Give me anything that's not one of these awful, awful songs. But they just never stop.
I was just gonna say I love all those songs. So it was gonna be real awkward for me to
That's tough.
dance. I'm dancing. I just danced the 4 songs that you mentioned. That's awesome. It's a good time.
Hey, you're out there dancing with the grandmas and the kids. You're
Mhm.
having a great time.
Right.
Every other normal human being is
Yeah,
just slamming
it's the-
beers because they hate this music. They want to kill themselves.
A lack of feel from a DJ is a real it's a real problem.
Yeah.
Say Kitty's playlist definitely has Love Shack on it.
Oh, that if you don't play Love Shack at the wedding, you're not
Kitty
getting your
riots.
you're not getting full payment as a DJ. You just lost $100, sir.
Uh-huh. Absolutely.
God, I'm getting all the good ones.
Uh-huh. I got a couple other ones that I got a joke that I want to get off, and I feel like it's just gonna be my pick. So I got 2 of those here.
All right.
My third pick is being faced with hard truths. Yeah, you're more than likely 50% of marriages fail. So you're basically wasting a Saturday. There's a coin toss whether it's a hard truth to face. But really, the big hard truth is being on the bubble of a groomsman or a bridal party. It's like, you're not good enough to be a groomsman, but hey, could you be an usher? We would like you to be an usher. We want you to come get in the tux and be uncomfortable for 5 hours. You got to be in pictures, but there's only like 1 or 2 of them that you got to be in. but you got to be there for 3 hours before, the 5 hours of the marriage or the wedding itself, and then the 3-hour reception. So you're in a tuxedo that whole time to be an usher, all while you're realizing that, hey, sometimes your new wife's cousin needs to be a little bit higher in the friendship pecking order. That's a hard truth to face, and that's one of the worst parts about a wedding.
What an honor, usher.
Truly is. Yes, I'd love to be an usher. That sounds great.
Now go unplug the toilet.
Yeah. Just be basically where you're at as an usher. That's what your childhood friendship is meant at this point, is you get to be an usher.
Roll up your sleeves. You're doing work.
Uh-huh.
I'd rather be in a pew.
Hard truths, huh?
Yeah, that's a line that I think a lot of us would rather just be sitting in the pew than be an usher.
Oh yeah. Those poor bastard ushers, man. Poor bastards.
Some
Kitty.
people like wearing tuxes.
I'm not friends with those people.
Nope, that's none of us.
Not friends with those people. Kitty.
I'm gonna go with an overlong ceremony.
Mm-hmm.
People that, let's have a full church service and let's do an hour-long wedding or ceremony. No, let's not. This is not a time for me to find Jesus. This is a time for you guys to express your love quickly to each other, and then we bounce. That's how weddings work.
Mm-hmm.
So none of this hour-long BS anymore. Let's cap weddings. 15-minute ceremony is the max you're allowed.
Yeah, I wonder what the conversion rate is on that. Like, who goes to a wedding, hears a sermon, and is like, you know what? I need to start going to church.
Yeah.
I've been living a lie.
Are we talking 1%?
Right.
Are we talking 0%? Just zero.
I mean, I don't think it's a non-zero. I think.
I
Yeah,
feel
because
like
you're
forcing people into
love.
church that never go to church.
Sure.
yeah,
And it's only
probably not
positive.
zero.
It's only the positivity train when you're in a wedding.
It's true.
that's true. You're not getting the fire and brimstone.
Nope.
that
No
you
hellfire in those.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's interesting thought. But it's not me.
It ain't you.
As someone that has been to a full service at a wedding, didn't convert me
Not yet.
to a churchgoer.
Still, don't lose hope. Anybody
That's right.
wanting to get Kitty on their wedding and
It's
also
not
save
over.
his soul. It's not over.
Still there. It's still a possibility.
Well, your soul's gone. It's dead.
There's still a soul out there to be saved.
Yeah. No soul left behind. Kitty, start off the final round here.
All right, let's see here. I'm going to go with waiting around at the ceremony or at the reception while the bride and groom are doing picture time.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep.
Oh, awesome. So, the wedding's at 2 and the wedding reception's at 6. Awesome. Fan-freaking-tastic.
And you bust through that bar tab before the wedding party even gets there. I love
Yeah,
that.
where is the reception's next to a bar, hopefully? Excellent.
Mhm.
Now we know. Now I'm just going to be super hammered at your wedding reception. Fantastic. Good for everybody.
You're welcome.
That's what we wanted.
Mhm.
Me to be hammered drunk all.
That's where
at 6
this
p.m. at
whole
your
night was.
reception.
That's what the whole night was organized for, is just to see Kitty's happy feet.
I went to one of those wedding receptions, and they had those weird time gap in between the wedding and the reception where they did a party bus or whatever, and not all parties of the wedding made it back to the reception. They
Oh no!
didn't quite make it. It got a little too drunky and had to go home.
Wow.
Yikes!
That's impressive. If anything else, I like that.
My
That
God.
gap was just a little too long for them.
Little
I'm
too
proud
much.
of them. It's okay if you're
Wow.
actually part of the wedding party and you're hanging out, having a good time, but when you're not part of the wedding party, it's just this. Oh, this is just dragging on. Let's go. I want to eat.
Black
I want to eat this food. I want to eat this food.
Might have been the problem in the first place, is not having the food.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta have
My-
snacks at cocktail hour.
Gotta have, yeah.
That's right.
Party
Yes,
buses are having it,
cocktail
too.
hour definitely needs
At least a mint
Pigs in a blanket.
or some
Pigs-
piggies in a
yeah.
blanket.
definitely.
Pizza rolls.
Pizza
that's
rolls.
that would be a great move. That would just
Speaking of pizza rolls,
That'd be
my
a win.
final pick is because I ate too many pizza rolls. The cheap chairs at every single wedding reception ever created. There's no venue that has like the steel reinforced beamage that the fat guy like me needs. All of them have the wooden chairs that are folding that if I sit in and take a single breath, every passing breath I take, there's a 76% chance that I fall to the ground in shambles, in splintery wooden shambles, because I'm a fat person that needs a way better chair than what those wedding venues provide. So that is the final pick of the worst things about a wedding from Josh Kaiser.
I like that.
Yeah, and those chairs, they're wholly uncomfortable too.
Absolutely.
Not just flimsy, but uncomfortable to sit in.
That's a pure big man complaint right there.
Absolutely.
It
And
really
yet
is.
it is an anxiety attack every wedding I've ever been to.
Yeah.
Just pull up the church pew, just bring it up to the table. I'll sit in a pew by myself. I don't care. Just don't give me one of those really bad chairs.
That's good. Let's close it out here. Final pick is the awkward interactions with people you rarely see or want to see, really.
Mm-hmm.
Inevitably, whether it's a close friend getting married or a relative or whatever, there's always somebody there that you kind of know but don't really want to know more, but you maybe got assigned to their table, so you have to have forced conversation, and then you're talking about shit you don't care about, asking questions you don't care the answers to.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it reminds me, I have a big milestone, a high school reunion coming up this year. I have no desire to organize or go to this thing because with social media and everything nowadays, if you really want to know what the hell's going on in my life, it's pretty easy to find out. Same vice versa. If I want to know what's going on with you, it's pretty easy. I understood it, high school reunions back in the day when nobody could really talk outside of being around each other, but it's kind of outdated at this point. So, I mean, let's not have these forced interactions where we don't really want to talk to each other.
The one of those is on my list, which is the dollar dance.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm probably
Yeah, yeah.
friends with the groom. I probably don't know much about the bride, yet I got to pay to go dance and have this weird, awkward interaction where I just hope that the bridesmaid just comes and taps my shoulder and I can get the hell out.
Yep. Get me out of here.
Yeah. You gotta pay off the bridesmaid. Say, hey, 12 seconds. I'm done. Let's do
Tops.
this.
Yep.
Here's $10. Get me out of here quickly.
Then do you give it do you try to make it fun, or do you just go for it? Like, I mean, just go with the middle school dance right out here for 10 seconds, then you get out. Eject them.
I think you start try to start doing swing dancing.
Oh,
Okay.
Really just have some fun with it. See
let's
what
get some
happens.
eyeballs.
No
Just,
wonder you got a little
make
sweating through that sports jacket.
Do a couple snaps at the DJ, have him turn on some Brian Setzer orchestra, ready to go.
I've got a visual right now. I would like to see play out.
Yep. Give me a little Zoot Suit Riot from Cherry Poppin' Daddy.
Yeah, exactly, something like that. We're getting after it. It's swing dancing time.
I didn't expect to go on a rant about Cherry Poppin' Daddies, but how did that name slip by the studio or the label? How did Cherry Poppin' Daddies make the cut?
I mean, I just think they like their fruit.
They're making
you don't-
cherry wine.
You just pop cherries.
That's not how cherries work.
Yeah, you eat them. Pop them in your mouth.
Then you choke on the seed and it turns into a pit and it turns into a thing.
Why would you not spit the seed out?
Why
With
would
a
you
pin out?
want a choking hazard to be your band name? I don't understand.
It's bizarre. I
We
agree.
got to
It's
get out of
bizarre.
here.
Leave this dumb conversation behind.
Yep.
Go.
Yep.
Go.
On that note, let's get out of here with that. That's going to do it for the Clearing Waivers podcast this week and probably forever, if we're being real honest. If we do come back, we might have a return. Maybe there may be a return on the horizon. We'll see how it all shapes up, but we'll look forward to that if we're allowed back on the internet. They may be done with us at this point, as well as our friends and family at this point. So but we do appreciate each and every one of you spending the time to listen to us. You go check us out on social media at Clearing Waivers. We're still building this project, still trying to get the snowball kind of rolling here. So if you like what you heard, like, subscribe, give us a 5-star review. All that stuff can 100% help us kind of get some internet traction. Outside of that, you'll share us with a friend, a family member. Just go to a Royals game and say, hey, do you like podcasts? Clearing Waivers podcast might be for you. Probably not. Let's be honest with it again, but it is a great way to kind of help us grow what we're trying to do here. We enjoy doing it, so we want to keep doing it and keep building what we're doing here. But other than that, go check out the great work over at Royals Review. They've got some great coverage for the Royals Farm Report. Shout out to them and the podcast. Go check out the what's going on at the Royals farm system with them. But other than that, for Brian and Kitty and myself this week, ta-ta for now.